been really impressed with what they've shown us so far. So let's finally jump into the draft. FURIA, for the first time in this series, is going to be on the blue side.
Me too. I mean, I have to give FURIA a lot of credit here. We did have that inter-region battle back in Split 1 between LTA North and LTA South. The LTA South, the 4 teams going up against our 4 teams, were only able to win a combined 1 game. And to be able to come here to push G2 to the very limit, to be in a great position here, it does feel like FURIA has really leveled up. They're showing a much better macro game. And I think, ThinkGuard definitely deserving of some credit for that as well. And we'll see how much further they can go, looking, of course, to close out this series. And potentially, they could get a rematch with G2 based on the results of this next series. I think BLG is the favorites coming into it. And we could have 2 best-of-5s between these 2 teams, with FURIA looking for some revenge. But picks and bans, of course, have already started. Nocturne is going to stay on that ban list. They will not give it over to Levi. Maokai joining one of the picks that you had talked about, liking for them, as far as the team fight prowess.
The Scion ban on GAM suggests to me that they're thinking about a priority on the Jace. They want to try and get Kiaya on something again that he can look to have impact on the top side of the map. The Alistar first pick, risky, but one of the best engaged supports that we have left, given that we're in game 4.
Exactly. I would say it is the best, because to me there are 5 that are kind of the prime engaged supports. That is the Rakan, the Nautilus, the Rel, the Leona, and then the Alistar. And of course, the other 4 had already been played, so the Alistar, last one remaining, really high prio on having that engage come from the support for JoJo.
But this is why it's so scary, because Braum is so good into the pick. Pairing it up alongside the Lucian too means that GAM get themselves a pretty strong bot lane. It will mean that we'll need to see the engage come through from somewhere other than Elio. The Yasuo.
Do we get the IU
Oh!
Yasuo? We're getting Alistar Yasuo bot lane. This has been a special for them in the LTA South. Of course, yes, there is a possibility it could get flexed around, but I am expecting it to go to IU. I do think this is going to be the 2v2. It's going to be Alistar plus Yasuo versus this Lucian Braum. Talk about confidence here. In an elimination series, international play, you're just going to slam down the Yasuo and say, you know what? You can't stop me.
I like it. We'll see how the rest of the draft develops around it. They've got a decent amount of range with the Azir coming through as well. We expect this to go into the mid lane. GAM now need to make an important decision. Do they want to match mid, or do they instead want to lock in something like jungle? Ooh, the LeBlanc for Ares. We saw some buffs come through for LeBlanc on a recent patch. It's traditionally been seen as a good matchup into the Azir. Azir really struggles to trade back against the LeBlanc, where you can get prio in the early wave clear. It could be a very favorable matchup, but you got to keep the momentum going. GAM is going for a hyper-aggressive composition. Lucian, LeBlanc, this is a comp that spikes hard in the mid game.
This is spicy already through the first 3 picks here. They get mid lane counter pick. They're also, because they're on red side, going to get answer here for top lane. More jungle bans coming through. Last time we saw so much attention towards the tank junglers. Skarner even got banned away.
I was just thinking to myself, Lee Sin LeBlanc would be great for GAM, and immediately FURIA read it and they get a ban away.
I feel like Viego also fits the bill. So it'd be interesting to see if that's going to be something
Jarvan
that does get taken away.
Well.
Jarvan, those are the 3 that are kind of standing out as AD junglers that could really pair well with this LeBlanc. Will the Skarner be taken away? Already 2 of these 3 kind of prime tank junglers have been banned out.
Skarner, I expect to be the ban. Oh no, they're going to get rid of the Trundle.
They could go Skarner here if they wanted, but
True.
I don't really love the pairing.
No.
But it
when
does
you pick
feel
LeBlanc,
like
you want something that enables the LeBlanc.
Exactly.
So you want something that has some sort of setup or some sort of skirmishing power.
But with the Trundle ban, to me, that's saying you are playing something that is going to be tanky. Generally, Trundle is picked into like Xin and stuff as a good jungle matchup, but that's already gone. So I'm thinking, do you want to have a tank alongside it? Is that why you're worried about this Trundle? Are they thinking about like an Ornn on 5? Are they thinking about a Skarner jungle? But to me, Viego fits the bill for what they need. Graves would be really spicy. That's not something that's been popular for quite a long time. It is definitely, a really powerful power farmer. I think LeBlanc always wants to be solo AP, so I would not want to see that whatsoever, but they are just kind of hovering through, and we'll see where they land.
Do we get the predict? It's looking like it. The reason why I think the Trundle ban is good. I think traditionally Trundle is a good answer into the Viego. When they just hit each other, Trundle wins out on those fights. And so Viego, LeBlanc, the reason why this pairing is just so good is that they both set up for each other. They both synergize very well. They're fantastic in the skirmishes. They love to try and fight in those 2v2s, 3v3s, and they just have so much power that enable one another.
Exactly. I mean, for Viego, it's all about getting resets, right? It's all about putting that damage out, bursting someone down, getting that initial kill. And Skarner's job is going to be to say, you cannot do that. You go forward. I will CC you. I will make your life really, really difficult. And we'll find out what the final pick here is for Gigo.
I will say, Furious comp, if they just swapped Yasuo for an Ezreal, this would be like super traditional front to back. The Yasuo does change things up a little bit, but ultimately they've gone for a very solid 5v5 teamfight composition. Yeah. It is very much about the front to back, where it's a question of, can you get through our front line? And I do feel that given the last game, GAM need to be cautious about how they approach these fights, because if they do just try and walk face first into a 5v5, I'm worried about how well things are going to pan out.
So this is definitely what I was thinking when I saw the Trundle ban, is that they were considering, some sort of tank in the top lane. I thought it might have been something like the Ornn. It is, in fact, the Cassante here. There's not the most consistent damage. Obviously, Azir is kind of the exception. The rest of them, not great tank killers. Levi looking a little bit frustrated there almost on cam. As they do lock in that final pick here, it will be a win or go home situation here for GAM. FURIA obviously with a game to give, but looking to close it out right here, right now, with that signature Yasuo for IU.
GAM, I feel, need to play through mids. They need to get this LeBlanc ahead. They want Eris to be in a great position where this LeBlanc is very difficult to deal with, where before a fight even starts, this LeBlanc is popping out of Fog of War, taking half of someone's HP bar off, and then you're just setting yourself up nicely for the team fight to come. If you're just going in a straight front to back, everyone's full HP, it's going to be a repeat of what we saw in Game 3.
Absolutely. Non-subscribers, we will see you in 30 seconds. I agree. That's absolutely what GAM wants to do. The difficulty, of course, there's lots of CC on the other side.
It's true.
You go in for that distortion sigil poke. You're trying to get that damage out, and you get flash renekton and stunned. You get flash comboed. You get hit by a Skarner ult or a Skarner E into the wall. Anything like that can spell disaster for some of these squishy characters that have been drafted. But the same is true for the Yasuo on the other side. Good use of the wind wall is absolutely critical to survive in these team fights. Playing around that with their very melee-heavy team that they have drafted is going to be huge.
Well, the pressure is now on for GAM. A single game will determine their fate. Will they push us to Silver Scrapes to Game 5, or will their MSI run end here? FURIA looking to get a huge best-of-5 victory over GAM, and look to move forward in the play-in stage to face the loser of BLG and G2, which will be happening after this series, straight after. League fans will not have to wait very long. I know EU fans, it's the weekend. I hope you enjoy the late night.
Yeah, they'll enjoy it if G2 wins. If G2
it's a
loses,
big if.
Yeah. Hey, they can do it. G2 has pulled off some crazy series before internationally. You always just got to believe in the Caps magic. When you don't have logic to support it, just believe in Caps. As GAM going to be looking for this invade here. And this is FURIA trying to make some history. Yesterday, they did bring G2 to Silver Scrapes. They're on the verge of their first international best-of-5 win. They had never even played against a major region in a best-of-5 before, so yesterday was the first time actually getting to go up against G2. Obviously, the expectations were not high for them against G2, but they really proved people wrong. And of course, again, this is an elimination match, so a lot of pressure on these players here, and we'll see how IU and JoJo do survive in the early levels on the Yasuo Alistar.
I also just think that over the last few years, Brazil has really just struggled on the international stage, and FURIA being a new representative for them, with so many young players as well, so many hyped individuals, with Tatu and IU in particular, these young players that have already demonstrated so much attention. We'll see how things pan out. For them to have a big victory against GAM would be massive for the region and these players.
Well, this is actually really interesting. So Levi's doing a 3-camp and then basing. I think he's going to try to defend his top side. because otherwise he would just keep going for that split map. So he's actually pinging over towards the Krug. So he's made the read that he's clearing faster than Tatu, and Tatu will assume it's a split map position. So Tatu is invading and trying to take these camps back. He will be able to get the red, but the question is, does he get caught, you know, by this long sword buy that Levi has and maybe punished at the Raptors or the Krugs? He's looking for him.
Levi is indeed looking for him. He'll recognize that the red is gone. The ward will spot out Tatu.
Knows he's there.
Kiaya looking for the collapse. Dodges away.
Yeah, Kiaya tracing after him. Tatu already blew that flash. He's going to get slowed down. There's the Q flash in, but it's going to be an E back. He goes unstoppable, pushes him back with the Pathmaker. Tatu is cooked. Levi with a fantastic read, knows the speed at which he will clear, knows the speed at which his opponent will clear, and makes the read that he's going to be on the top side, and they can make a move and catch him. Great stuff. It did take a lot of resources to do it. They spent both the flashes, including that flash Pathmaker from Kiaya, but excellent start.
I think the roam from Eris was also really important. They needed that extra bit of damage to come through, and the fact that he sacrificed some of his wave in order to be there to assist with the damage output meant that GAM was able to find an advantage on the top side of the map. The blue gets stolen away. The crab is also secured. Levi with a big advantage over Tatu.
And now Tatu is completely jobless. Like, he's gonna have to wait for these respawn camps, try to go towards that. There's still so many camps on the map that Levi can farm up. He has his Raptors respawning. He's got 3 camps on bot side. He has a second scuttle that he can even go towards. So we'll see. It's looking like it's gonna be a great start for Levi.
I was gonna say, I don't love the placement of this ward, but it is gonna spot out Tatu. I would have preferred it deeper to actually see the Raptors being cleared out. Levi, though, gonna get the double crab. Tatu's pathing is, well, it should clear out now because he can start pathing up towards the top side of his jungle. Meanwhile, on the bot side of the map, a matchup that we were excited to see because the Yasuo is going to come through. Not too far behind, the kind of deficit that you would expect in the early game. I imagine that Artemis is going to look to try and push this advantage more similar to what we saw in game 1.
It's going to be tough for Gigo as well because the early kill went to Kiaya, so it's a fast Bramble, and he got red buff, which is always annoying to have to actually lane against that. As Eris goes forward, is able to actually proc the Electrocute, get a bit of damage down. As IU will be playing heavily with his passive. Pathmaker, nice buffer there, does get the stun, and then another Q to follow it up. Can he find that Q3? Gigo trying to kite back, needs to be careful to avoid that third and Tofo strike. Will be able to do it for now, but he is getting quite low. Tatu in the area, though. Will they be able to actually chase down Kiaya? Remember, has no flash, doesn't quite get the stun against the wall, and he's just gonna take him in the 1v2. Gigo was too low. Kiaya back-to-back games with solo kills.
Cassante is getting monstrous with GAM securing that first blood, and now FURIA making a big misplay. Gigo thought that he had more HP to assist with his jungler and getting the kill onto Kiaya, but a massive mistake means that this Cassante is now going to get very monstrous very quickly.
He's going to be so tanky, and Kiaya really can be that difference maker. Jungle is ahead, top lane is ahead, bot lane with that slight lead here. Looking very good already here for GAM, but they have got to keep their foot on the gas. We saw what happened last game. They got up to a 5,000 gold lead, did still lose that one. But again, it is another good early game, and it's something we've seen a lot from them throughout the tournament. You know, you think back even to the BLG series where they were able to create advantages. Eris, though, could be in trouble, gonna get swept back. Jojo in the area. Eris has to flash. The XP advantage making the difference there for Toots.
Now, this is a consequence of the roam that we saw from Eris in the early game to assist in getting that first blood on the top side of the map. Losing the flash and falling behind is not the end of the world. LeBlanc does spike quite nicely on that first item, but I will say that while it looks good for GAM, having all of that gold invested on the top side of the map isn't necessarily ideal. This composition, while it does want to spike around that one item, in an ideal world, GAM is investing their resources mid and bot rather than the Cassante who...
But what if Cassante just kills everyone?
I mean, there's also that reality, right? Where Jojo going to take a decent amount of damage. GAM can't quite convert it into a kill. But yeah, we'll see how things translate. Right now, if I'm FURIA, I wouldn't be too concerned. I'd just be saying that right now, yes, this Cassante is very scary. But as long as this LeBlanc and Lucian are under control, FURIA still have ways to turn this game around.
Absolutely. I mean, especially after you came back in last game, you're not sweating a 2-kill deficit early on. Last game was 1,000 times worse in the position that they were in, and they were able to come back and win that. So I don't think they're going to be too concerned whatsoever. You are expecting an early deficit in this melee versus range matchup for the Yasuo. Levi here on the invade, though, trying to use the pressure they have, but they did not check the pixel brush. They were all spotted by that pink ward as they walked in through that bot lane tri-brush. FURIA decides, though, you know what? We actually can't fight this. IU is locked under the tower, farming that wave, so he does not want to leave for what might not even be a good fight.
I like how Levi is continuing to play with the lead that he has. Kiaya.
Eris looking for the chain. Jojo is here. We'll have to distort back. Gigo getting quite low, does have the dominance. The ultimate is available, of course, but Kiaya could also look to go all out. IU going in, last breath comes out here on Artemis. Exhaust going to be used as well. Artemis going to have to actually flash out of there, respecting the damage from the Yasuo. Gets in on top of him, pops the exhaust, and you just can't fight back in that spot.
IU really getting the better of Artemis in the 1v1. The farm differential is basically nothing as the grubs.
Yeah, the Tatu gets a stun onto Kiaya. Kiaya looking to get some damage down onto Gigo. Eris on the side, trying to get the damage down onto Tuts. He lands the chain, but there's the Skarner ulti. It only connects onto one. Levi trying to fire back. Kiaya there with the team. They get the kill, they get the feat of warfare, and they get the reset. Levi now is in the Renekton. Flash stun from him. Tatu's gonna fall as well. It's a double for Levi. The star of GAM comes to life in this game, makes the early game read on the jungle path and gets the double kill. And they're going to be able to grab the objective off the back of it as well.
I will say, it was a bold play from FURIA to try and fight
Elio in trouble here. Toots in a 1v2. How about that? Flash follow. Easy kill for the Azir. Toots will not be outdone.
We find ourselves in the midst of chaos 9 minutes into game 4. FURIA finally get themselves their first kill of the game. It goes into the mid laner's hands, but trying to contest these grubs was an ambitious move to make. Levi possesses a lot of the early game gold. Viego wants to skirmish. Skarner, Renekton, Braum. These champions, especially after falling behind already, trying to go for that early fight, I just don't think was a good decision, and GAM rightfully punished it. Just short of 2K is now the lead that they sit on. Jojo in a bit of danger.
Yeah, will be backed up there by IU, who is level 7 at this point. Both supports have been roaming a fair bit. And IU now in a pretty good spot. Has the upgraded boots and has that Heartsteel Axe? It's the Hearthbound Axe? Heartsteel Axe? I can't even remember.
Axe, yeah.
Hearthbound Axe, there you go.
There's a lot of components.
There are a lot of components.
I always forget.
He built some long swords and then they turned it into something.
That he did. We kind of look across the field, and right now it's the dragon that we turn our attention towards. 45 seconds until that next objective. It will be GAM that will likely have pressure on that objective. Of course, given how the bot lane is playing out, I don't think that FURIA are out of options. It's just...
Ooh. Gigo is getting very low.
Yep. K'Sante with a lead.
Yep, K'Sante does not have all out, so doesn't have his ultimate, and dominance is available for Gigo. So he should be okay to farm under his tower, but he's got to be careful about getting poked down here. Eris going in for the trade, proxy electrocute, but honestly took as much damage, if not more, as he dealt. And Tuss has just been handling this matchup without any issues whatsoever. He really has been looking great.
The level advantage doing him wonders right now, just having that extra bit of health. Tatu makes his way. I wonder if he was spotted there.
If Levi's still in the brush, he would be. Should be spotted, yep. So they know that Tatu is in the area. The question is, do they look for a fight here around the scuttle? Eris is already trying to threaten the move down towards that river, but it looks like GAM will just make the call. You know what? We got to give it up. We don't want to actually engage into Jojo and IU, especially when Jojo just hit 6. Will be very difficult to take down. Eris, though, going aggressive here onto Toots. Does land the chain. Toots getting quite low, but again, trading back effectively every single time. Keeping that pressure on Eris, never allowing him to just take a free trade. But with the Azir having to go back to base, Levi feels confident, try to start this up. Elio looking. They're going to be able to proc the stun here onto IU. IU flashes out, but IU could be in a lot of trouble. Braum going to throw down the ultimate. Jojo tries to knock him back. As the knock up there from IU will keep him safe, but still, the TP should guarantee this dragon.
Yeah, but it's a heavy commitment there.
No one's top, yeah, and there's no TP to answer.
This will open up the top lane tower for Gigo to get a bit of gold back in the matchup. But sure, a second of dragon secured. I like the fact that GAM is keeping this pressure up is what they need to do, because in an ideal world, what's happening is the Trinity Force is already completed for Levi. You spike hard at around 15 to 20 minutes. You get the third dragon, and then you force FURIA into a fight where you have that item advantage. You're spiking hard at around level 11, the right items, the right time, and FURIA hasn't had enough time to scale up. So I think GAM has the right idea around how they want to play things out. Right now, a lot of the gold is sitting on Levi, and that is both a good and a bad thing. It's a good thing because it's giving them full control over these objectives. It's really hard for FURIA to fight. But in terms of pressure, Azir is doing a good job of maintaining mid control and is always punishing Eris every time Eris tries to move. And on the bot side of the map, Artemis is not dominating in the 1v1 matchup, and this Yasuo is just having a lot of time to free scale. Now they've moved IU towards mids, and we see these kind of lane assignments once again from GAM. They're threatening the dive on top. The TP will come through from the Renekton.
Oh, they definitely want to try to look for a dive, but Tatu is in the area. Will they be able to actually pull it off? The culling is just ripping through him. Levi is fed, and Artemis gets the kill. And now we can actually take over the body, but IU is coming up here as well. They're going to try to look for more, but GAM execute on that play. Even though FURIA had the read, the CC into just a full tanked culling was way too much for Kigo to be able to survive. They are looking for Eris down on the bot side, but we'll be able to distort out to safety.
Has the mobility to get away. Oh, but now IU is isolated in the top lane.
No flash, does have the exhaust. Can he outplay? He's going to have to try to dodge. Gets the knock up. There's the last breath. The shield comes through. Will they be able to kill him off? Elio, incredibly low, is barely able to survive there. Levi jumps out as well. They can't take down IU. Well played by the Yasuo to be able to survive in the 1v3. I thought Elio might have been getting knocked down.
The exhaust doing some serious work. It did seem like they were going to try and trade Elio for IU, which would have been a worthwhile trade, but he managed to find the outplay. GAM still hold on to the gold lead for now. Tuts is being given more free farm in the bot lane as he extends his individual lead to 1.1k. The Nash's Tooth doing some serious work on the split push. And FURIA, again, we always think about that scaling element. They're looking pretty good for the time being.
They really are. This is going to be a problem here, and they're going to have to try to find some sort of solution. Eris really has not been very effective thus far this game. Hasn't really been able to put on a lot of pressure, but to be fair, they haven't been playing around him that much. Has been looking for trades, but mostly they've been answered and often surpassed by what Tuts is doing, and this Azir is just always a problem. The further you get into the game, the more problematic he is going to become. He is that kind of ticking clock on you that you know once it gets late game, time can sometimes just be up.
Well, Herald now spawning in about 20 seconds. FURIA.
Oh, they're going to look. Nice combo there as Jojo knocks him back and he gets stunned to the wall immediately. Eris has to flash out, but will it even matter? Flash there to follow. They're trying to chase him down. Tatu used the flash, but he can't close the gap just yet. You can see IU moving down. Eris may have to try to look for an execute here, but I don't know if the kill tag has expired, and it definitely hasn't now as Tatu hits him with a rock to the back of the head. They do eventually get the kill.
That means that the gap between the mid laners is only continuing to grow. Of course, we look at the rest of the map and it's still advantages across the board in favor of GAM. But when you think about the map pressure, it's FURIA that's pushing in the bot lane. FURIA caught the wave in mid. They're setting their sights on this bot tier 1.
Levi is there. They're just trying to force down the tower. Elio TP down. Now Artemis is going to arrive. Can they look to try to turn this around? Artemis trying to get some damage down, but the tower is getting lower and lower as Kiaya is looking for another solo bolo on the top side. Gigo flashes out, but will Kiaya spend the flash to follow? He's going to go for it, and he's going to get it. Kiaya with another solo kill, not to be outdone.
The Cassante continues to grow stronger. GAM are gaining massive advantages on the top side of the map. The Dragon is a minute away, and FURIA find themselves in a difficult spot. So much of the pressure is falling onto Tuts' shoulders. The Azir in a great spot.
Some broad shoulders, though.
It's going to have to be, as GAM find themselves with such a huge advantage right now. Look at Levi. This Viego is very scary with the Cassante by his side. We'll see how things play out. FURIA, about 2k gold down for now. The Herald's going to drop. They can't really contest. Instead, they'll set their sights on the bot tier 1.
And he may just be going Collector second here. Really aggressive build with the Viego. Definitely can put out incredible amounts of burst. Kiaya now here around mid lane. Jojo just has to headbutt him back as IU did not want to get chased down. But remember, while you are watching the action unfold, keep an eye out for exclusive drops just for tuning in to MSI. All you need to do is be logged in and watching on lolesports.com for a chance to score in-game loot. As GAM continue pushing this pressure forward, the Dragon is up. They use the Herald to take that mid-tier 1, and now they are looking to move and grab another Dragon. This would be their third of the game.
The bot wave's in an awkward spot for GAM. They decided to just bring Kiaya over towards the Drake. They want to make sure that they can get this to put themselves on soul point. Tatu is in the area, a level down, but now the rest of FURIA have regrouped. They're looking to contest.
Yeah, they absolutely are, and FURIA are much more grouped. Eris is on the side by himself here. Levi, Kiaya focusing down this Dragon, but you can see the damage coming in from Tuts already as there's Eris looking for some poke onto IU. But the combo, the Skarner ultimate, grabs them all, again. Every single time when you think they're down, they get back up and they hit you in the face.
FURIA do not hesitate. The moment they see a good angle to fight, they will force it. GAM's positioning was all over the place. They had Eris looking for a flank, hovering around the mid lane, but IU wasn't scared. There was Lucian kind of spread off from the main bulk of the force that was focusing down the dragon. And just like that, FURIA swing the fight in their favor. The gold now in their favor.
And look at where that gold is. A 3,000 individual gold lead for the Azir over the LeBlanc. That is so problematic now. He's going to go back and likely have an entire item. Watch this Skarner ulti.
So Artemis trying to get involved in the fight, getting zoned away. Then the Skarner ultimate comes through, the knockup happens, the Yasuo follow-up, the chain CC onto the front line of GAM. Just means that they're not allowed to play. Artemis is forced out of the fight. Eris had no impact in the fight. And FURIA, they're just a unit. They commit, they coordinate, and they destroy GAM in the fight.
Yeah, and there are the FURIA coaches right there reacting. You can see even Tatu leaning over to Toots and saying, well done, good job. On the Azir is very far ahead at this point, and I feel like GAM's frontline just got a little bit overconfident. We'll see if Toots has done the same now. Jojo trying to get in here to help him out. There's the flash forward from Levi, but look at Eris. He's just deleted. It's a 1v2. No problem there for Toots as he gets one back. The question is, can they get more? Elio slowing down Jojo. Will set him up. Gonna be able to pop the ulti to break that, but here comes Levi. Great sidestep there from Jojo. He will eventually be ran down. The question is, can they get something else elsewhere on the map? And the answer looks like no, as IU will not be able to take this tower before they get back to defend.
Yeah, so a positioning mistake there from FURIA. It's great that Toots is able to, at the very least, trade 1-for-1, but Eris has very little gold in the game, and the fact that Levi was able to pick up that kill is only going to put him in a more favorable position. FURIA can't afford to rest on their laurels because GAM is going to constantly fish for these picks, and with nothing on the map for FURIA to really cross-map for, it's only going to allow GAM to reclaim that gold advantage. Levi, in the last fight, wasn't allowed, I should say, to have impact, but next time around he's going to be aware of that, and a single reset could change the whole fight.
Tatu looking here for Artemis. Nice dash and nice sidestep. Artemis hits him with the question mark right after. Great job avoiding the gank there from Tatu. The big problem for me is you don't really have any guaranteed explosive engage from GAM, as they're going to get some damage down here onto Tatu. Let the culling rip. Levi's coming in, as is Jojo. IU just drops the wind wall, tries to keep his jungler safe, and will be able to do so. Levi has this big gold advantage. They want to try to use it. Remember, Jojo has no ulti from that bot lane death, and he's going to die again. The question is, how aggressive do they get with this? You can see pings are already there over onto the Otacon.
And you can see that GAM is very good at just finding these picks. FURIA is disrespecting. They did win a team fight, but that doesn't suddenly mean that you're so much stronger than GAM. They have the numbers, they're finding good catches, and with the TP being invested, they're securing an Otacon.
They're going to grab this Otacon. Yep, no chance of a steal here. Tatu not in the area, and Toots is not even going to look for it. Great plays there from GAM. They have to keep going, though. They need more. Levi has that 2K advantage, but it's going to be very difficult for him to use that in a team fight compared to what the Azir is going to be able to do, where he just basically has to hit anyone, stay safe, and look for those plays.
Gigo pushing out that bot wave, trying to steal away the Gromp as well, getting what gold he can. Of course, he is quite far behind Kiaya. The Renekton is basically just a wall of HP when we think about the upcoming fights. If he can zone away the Lucian, then that's definitely a job well done. Toots' main responsibility is to try and get through Kiaya, who's now really starting to stack up this magic resistance, so he's becoming an immovable wall. We'll see how FURIA deal with that. Meanwhile, IU kind of quietly continuing to farm in the background. This Yasuo had a nice combo in the previous fight. Eris making his way down from the top lane. GAM starting to stack to protect their mid lane.
Windwall's so difficult to play around sometimes for Lucian because you are already a relatively short-range character. You get in the mix, then the Windwall comes down. You're trying to reposition around that without getting hit by a Renekton stun or a combo from Jojo or a knockup. But it's GAM already positioning aggressively. Kiaya looking for something here on a Jojo. He's going to pop the ult, and in comes Tatu. Quigo is here as well. Kiaya trying to kite back now with Artemis, as Kiaya took the worst end of that. Does not have his teleport available. Toots was kind of just free hitting, but it did mean the ultimate was spent from both Gigo and JoJo, so they could be vulnerable. FURIA, though, pushing forward, eyes on this tier 1 tower. They're going to get it, and again, GAM is just completely split now.
Keep track of the cooldowns at the bottom of your screen. The ulti of Alistar and Renekton were both used. Big ultimates that are important for a team fight. The Braum was used in exchange, but they still have the Cassante and the Viego ult available along with the Culling.
But they just can't walk through Toots. Look at this. Ki is trying to get aggressive here, but he's just going to get knocked down. He's incredibly low. He's CC'd and he's killed. Artemis now, the job is up to him. Can he and Eris make something happen? The wind wall says no to the Culling as Gigo's going to be spotted out on the side. Eris low, Elio low, Artemis on the run. Gigo behind them still, looking for this Lucian, hunting, going for the stun. The barriers popped early. Eris trying to turn around onto Gigo. Gigo has to flash out to the other side. It's Toots and it's IU, and they've got Levi. Levi will draw his last breath as he's knocked down by the Yasuo. GAM are running for the hills, but FURIA want even more. They take Artemis, and they are damn well sure going to take the dragon as well.
The front line just evaporates for GAM. Azael, you were talking about how difficult it is for GAM to approach. Oh, Eris at the very least gets a kill back. Shuts down Gigo and gets a bit of gold back into his pocket, but the dragon is still going to fall in favor of FURIA. The fights are going the way of FURIA, and I feel like it all comes down to this man in the mid lane, the Emperor of the Sands. Toots is just eviscerating them. We see Kiaya trying to approach,
like that.
And look at Toots, he just melts him. The CC comes through, they have an easy target to focus down. And like, what options do GAM have left? They don't have an easy way to start the fight. Their engage is limited. Instead, they try to poke down their opposition, but FURIA is more than healthy enough. They dance around Gigo, they chip away his HP bar, but now Levi is isolated and FURIA are quick to collapse.
Yeah, it's just really well played. They collapse on him, hit him with the Azir ult. That sets up for IU's ultimate. Tatu, as always, so excited there. I think he's kind of laughing at Gigo for dying under the tower. Looked like that might have been the reaction there, but you can see the FURIA fans really happy about how things are going. They are on the verge of taking down GAM, of winning their first international best of 5. Look at the damage dealt there. Artemis getting a ton done, but it's a one-man army. The Emperor on the other side, Toots has just been killing it. Eris trying to take down this tower, but kind of disrespecting the damage there from Gigo. Takes a couple tower shots for his trouble and will be sent packing.
The Baron now makes its way onto the Rift with the Dragons equalized. This could be a tool used to force a fight.
Artemis, Levi are here. They're looking for Tatu. They're going to go in for it. They pull the trigger on the teleport. Ayu's coming over as well. Eris still incredibly low. Gigo has no ultimate, but now in comes Toots. He is the problem. Do they have the answer? Great combo from JoJo. Sets up for Ayu, but he's going to be stunned to the wall by the stolen body of the Skarner. And it's a double for Levi. He's getting the resets, and Levi is going crazy. Levi pulls the fight out from nowhere. GAM get a clean ace. They'll get the Baron, and they do not want to go down in game number 4.
One by one, FURIA walk into the meat grinder that is Levi. He picks them apart. And in the straight up front to back 5v5, we've seen FURIA get the better of GAM. But when it just turns into Levi versus his opposition, it's Levi that gets the better of them. They secure the Baron. They balloon this into a 4k gold lead. And remember, look at the map state right now. It's a 3 versus 4. IU can't really get involved in the fight. The Braum shield is there to protect. And now the front line is gone. Tardu falls. But FURIA keep going back in. Gigo, before he even arrives, IU is shut down. And while the Azir wall looks really cool, it doesn't result in much. They didn't quite have the damage. And GAM found the perfect fight.
I mean, you can see Levi pumped up, as well he should be. They got the initial kill on the Skarner, and then beautifully takes over the Skarner and drives the Yasuo into the wall after that combo setting up for the last breath came through from JoJo. Stuns the Yasuo into the wall. They are able to burst him down without him being able to do much of anything. But now Levi is spotted. Hex Flash threatening there from JoJo. You can see big early advantage was claimed by Levi in this game, and he is trying to be the force that gets them across the finish line. Eris now level 6, critical for the LeBlanc. Getting that really short cooldown on the ulti helps with the poke. Gigo fighting aggressively here, but he's against Kiaya and Levi. Kiaya can tank the tower for days. Gigo, though, still surviving for now. Are they going to be able to knock him down? Kiaya's got to get out of tower range. They do get the kill, and now it's Tatu that's in trouble on the other side, as the culling won't quite be enough damage to knock him down. Toots, though, holding strong here in that bot lane, defending the tower, as IU takes over the responsibilities in mid lane.
Levi is playing with nothing but confidence, acting as the driving force right now for GAM. They find another pick in mid, convert it into a tower. They're gonna secure another one here in the bot lane.
6K.
And GAM, after a single fight, have claimed full control over this game.
The question remains, can you win a setup front-to-back fight against this Azir who is monstrously fed? Because they are going to have to answer that question. They're not going to be able to close out the game with this Baron. They're still going to have to win 5v5s, and that has been the problem. Eris is able to land some poke. Chains were sidestepped nicely by Toots, but he is hurting. Like, Elio takes a couple stabs there, loses half his health. Eris again looking, but will tank a tower shot. They're just trying to make sure that FURIA can't get any vision on the dragon, that they can't even get over there. They're trying to make sure it's not that 5v5 I'm talking about, where it is established battle lines.
I will note that Artemis, with his 3 items completed, is dishing out some serious damage himself. And while so much of the conversation has been about Levi, IU in these clustered fights, sure, he's been getting some great ultis off, contributing to the chain CC to set up for Toots to just dish out the damage. But now that Lucian, I feel like he's just going to melt through this Renekton. And when we think about the front to back and the fact that Kiaya has been kind of getting destroyed, now that the level 17 Kazante is going up against this Azir, sure, Azir is scary, but we'll see how the fight plays out. Dragon started off. I think FURIA is just going to give this one up.
Yeah, they are going to give it. I think it's the right choice. I really liked how GAM played that Baron. They kept the pressure on. They never allowed FURIA to enter their jungle, so they couldn't get any vision to even approach the Dragon. Just denied any possibility of a fight. Was really well done. The last Whisper now done as well for Levi, so Gigo could be in some trouble tanking that culling, and he is just getting burst down under his tower. Not even safe there, but Toots is trying to turn around. Look at this damage coming through from the Azir. Levi barely survives. Jojo may want more. Does have the flash, but I don't think he's going to be able to get in range here to stop Levi on the recall. Though we will have to stop, as Eris can't actually ward Jojo away. They are worried about a potential chase down. Tried to go big for that dive, and it almost turned tragic.
That flash from Gigo was so close. He almost ended up as fodder, flashing away from the Levi ultimate, getting him away to safety. But he has not had a good game. 14 is his level compared to the 17 of Kiaya. He just melts at the hands of most of the GAM members, as you saw in that bot lane skirmish. And GAM, they're desperately trying to force the Baron, of course, now worn off. They didn't really get much off the back of it. They got that tier 2 tower in the mid lane, and Azil, it still feels like FURIA have the tools to win out on these fights, especially with the death cap on the horizon for Toots.
I think they absolutely do. I mean, it's all about the start of the fight for GAM to me. You have this 4,300 gold lead on Levi, which is absolutely absurd, but if you get CC'd, if you get comboed, you get hit with the exhaust coming through from IU, you're getting Skarner ulted out of an Alistar combo, you can't really do that much. Whereas there's so few tools to actually get that explosive engage and lockdown to it, so it's going to be so much harder to stop what he wants to do. He's almost on his death cap for the forced item, and as long as he is staying safe and the battle lines are established, you drop the wind wall to zone out Artemis. As the melees come forward, they can kind of just focus down, and we've seen that in a number of fights. So we'll see if FURIA can pull it off.
There it is. There's the death cap. Okay. So Baron spawns in 50 seconds. GAM are gaining deep vision control on the top side of the map.
Oh, Kiaya in a potential 1v2 here. Gigo is around, as is IU. He gets the bad news. They don't have a teleport to back him up. He's going to have to take this fight by himself. We'll see if he can actually do it. Going to go unstoppable as he goes over the wall. Can he actually kite out Gigo? He's trying to. Gigo has the slice, has the dice, though. Nice and Tovo strikes, knocking him up, trying to buy the time.
They can't kill him.
Kazante Gaming, the Pathmaker, will draw the path back to safety at his base. He gets out of the 1v2, gets the exhaust, gets the ultis. Kiaya is coming up massive for the team.
IU even used the exhaust. Tatu forced to flash away as GAM almost found another pick. They're threatening the Baron that spawns in 5 seconds. Kiaya back out onto the map, close to level 18 in the bot lane. Getting even more magic resistance to deal with Toots. The pressure continues to mount. The TP comes through. GAM is looking to force.
There are some missing ultis. The last breath, the Yasuo ultimate is back up. It is a very short cooldown, but Braum has no ulti. Gigo has no ulti. Neither does Kiaya. Eris on the side here, trying to look for angles to poke, but I think FURIA might just go forward. They're trying to fight their way through. Elio takes a couple autos from Azir, and down goes half his HP. Eris trying to land a little bit of poke, but it doesn't do much of anything on Atatu.
You can feel the tension. Eris is spotted on vision, has the mobility to get away to safety. FURIA clearing out what they can of the Baron side of the map. The push in mid now been responded to by GAM.
Oh, he's going for the base. This is a very awkward spot. He's going to have to actually use his teleport.
Yep.
He kind of postured pretty aggressively. Instead of using the blast cones to go up towards his side of the map, he, I think, was trying to see, can he find some sort of a sneaky play, but it ends up costing him his teleport. Elio did get back to base and was able to heal up. Now back out on the map. Has an exhaust of his own here from that unsealed spellbook. Is ready to use it, but again, every time Elio steps forward, he just gets an auto or two from Toots, and it's kind of back to base with you.
FURIA with position on the Baron. The Dragon spawning in 50 seconds.
Nice poke there. About 30% of the HP gone from Gigo.
Oh,
of course, he has no MR. They're just going to force. They're saying, you know what? We believe in our ability to win a 5v5. We will see if they can pull it off. Eris is on the top side. FURIA do pull off, though, as they don't want to be tanking the Baron when GAM engages. They're looking to try to go for the fight here. GAM is in a 4v5 until Eris can reconvene with the rest of the team. Tato is able to help push us out. He's trying to ward them away, make it difficult for the Viego. That's his job. He's got to be the one putting the CC down on Levi if he goes aggressive.
Poke being thrown, nothing too serious so far. The Dragon now the priority. GAM on Soul Point, they can use this to their advantage to try and threaten the Baron themselves.
Eris again. Oh, Eris could be caught here. Toots is looking for him, and he's just autoing him to death. He does land the chains, but are they going to be able to turn this around? Exhaust comes down onto Toots. Toots in trouble now, but on the other side, the Skarner ult is going to land, and it's Levi into the back line. It's Levi on a rampage, and it's Levi's world. You're just living in it. He takes over the Azir. He's taking over the fight. He's taking over the series. GAM win the fight and are going to push us to a game number 5.
The death timers are so long. GAM still have 4 members alive. Tatu is trying to catch the wave so he can buy time. Eris is not going to allow that to happen.
Yeah, they're just going to run down Tatu, try as he might. His efforts are in vain. This game was about one man, and it was about one man only. Levi on the Viego went crazy. GAM are able to find a way to push back, to fight back, and to force us all the way. We're going the distance. It's going to be a game number 5 between FURIA and GAM. Cue up Silver Scrapes.
Such an intense team fight at the very end. Toots overstepped too far.